and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 415? He says, thinking, I'm hoping so. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Wow, fantastic. Love
fantastic.
That. That's fantastic that you're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt not here. He's on holiday.
No, he's on holiday.
You want to give me a different what? Different type of energy?
Just a different type of energy, yeah. I give you the same, like, I'm doing good, I want to, like, shake it up. So I went from good to fantastic.
Fair enough.
New vibes.
Yeah, Matt on holiday. He did tell us he was going to be away. Didn't know how long. So we're doing this week. Without him. What's new? Bro, honestly, we're going to get into the FTC stuff. I'm going to let you guys know from the jump. This isn't the Xbox podcast for the FTC news. We are not those guys. I'll keep it a buck. I am so over the FTC, Activision, buy-in, merger, blah, blah, blah. There are some tidbits, of course, we're going to talk about because there's some interesting stuff that has come out from all of this. But if you're looking for an in-depth conversation on that stuff, we are not the guys. Go check out Unlocked. They had a fantastic episode on this. Go check out Tom Warren on Twitter. Go check out Jez Corden on Twitter, Windows Central. Those are the people to go to for that type of information. As soon as it becomes lawyery and, all of this in-depth, it's not me. Yeah. So we're going to surface level it on topic of the show. But, if you were expecting an in-depth conversation on all this, we're probably not the people to talk about it. But maybe you'll enjoy our little beats, and trust me, I've got a lot to say about Sony, so maybe you'll enjoy that. So here we go. We go. If you didn't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our Xbox podcast. You can get it earlier on patreon.com/mcfixer. Make sure you go find us on all podcast services. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you leave us a nice review, because why the heck not? Also, youtube.com/My Xbox and Me. Go subscribe. Go keep checking that out. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers. So go and help us out if you haven't already. Shout out to our Patreon producer, Erin God. We do appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the support, keeping the lights on. He's supported over on patreon.com/mfixer. Topic of the show, FTC versus Microsoft. It has been happening all week long. I think it's just ended. The date would have been the 30th of June, I think it ended. Yes. I think that's right. For those who don't know what this is Xbox trying to buy Activision. Of course, it was blocked by the FTC. They are now battling it out in a courtroom where we will find out if that gets overturned. Do we have a date on when the judge has to make a ruling?
It's supposed to be like July 5th, I think, is the date that's coming in. Even if the FTC wins this, I don't think the court case is over. I think this was for like an injunction or something like that.
Gotcha.
Where if they lose this, they're like, Microsoft can just go ahead with the purchase, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's been going on right now. A lot has come out from this. And again, I want to give another shout out to Tom Warren, because he was the guy that I went to every single day to his Twitter to get a little rundown. I'm going to be reading from The Verge, mainly just the headlines, so then we can sort of give our own 2 cents on the matter. This is a 10-page article on The Verge of Tom breaking down every single tidbit of what gets said during this court case. Again, if you haven't checked out this article, please go and do so. Tom did such a fantastic job covering all of this. Crash, is there anything from the top you want to jump on just to start with? Because I've got a few bits. bits.
Do we want to start with the acquisition talks? Not Activision.
No. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, a few tidbits of news came out during all this from some emails, if I'm not mistaken, of Xbox. A few things got said. Number one, again, we are not the podcast where you're going to get the correct direct quote from the right people, stuff like that. So take what I say. I know it's been said. I just don't know who said it in the email, blah, blah, blah. I am not a journalist. I do this for entertainment purposes only. Okay? So there was one quote from somebody at Microsoft saying, we could literally just outspend Sony.
Yeah.
What do you make of that, Crash?
I make that is I feel like Microsoft still got that energy. I think if you're going after Activision, I think that energy is still alive. I do know that they said, "Oh, that was in 2019. Our plans changed. Whatever, whatever." I'm like, that's BS. Your plans haven't changed. You're still like, they still would outspend Sony. I think the Activision purchase is more so like, hey, Sony's gonna start working with us, or else like you guys are just not gonna get a deal on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Not a deal that you guys will ever accept, and then that's not on us. It's on you guys, right?
Yeah, I think the acquisition. So there was an email thread going around about rumors, which we spoke about on the podcast. Every Xbox podcast has spoken about it, but about rumors of Xbox looking to sign Square Enix, to buy Square Enix. Sega. Who else was on there? There was a long list of studios.
Yeah, Bungie was there as well.
Bungie before Sony purchased them. Who else? There was somebody else. There was another big one that I'm skipping my mind right now.
Was Capcom part of it?
I don't see Capcom.
I don't think Capcom was there.
But there was a few. There was a few that were on the list of that internally were spoken about. Microsoft purchasing. Square Enix was never going to happen. Like, just because Xbox wanted it to happen or considered it happening, Square Enix was never going to do it.
Yeah. I think the important thing, like, of all the acquisitions, even the Bungie and stuff like that, is, like, they were plans to try and acquire them. It was not a case of, like, hey, we are going to acquire these studios. Because at the end of the day, like, acquiring Japanese studios works a bit different. And on top of that, you still have to have the studio want to be acquired, which is a big factor in that, right?
Yeah, which I believe Square Enix would not have went for. I think the moment that Microsoft would have even opened up those talks, they would have sprinted to Sony and been like, "Yo,
you want to buy us?
Hey, they're talking to us, so you might wanna." The Sega one's a more interesting one for me, to be honest with you. They've got some huge IP, obviously, we know that. And Microsoft and Sega have been working with each other on a much more noticeable level over the last 3 to 4 years, I would say.
Yeah,
since the series consoles came out.
Yeah, ever since the Persona stuff, when it was like, oh, Persona games are coming to Game Pass, and Persona 5 is finally coming to Xbox, and all that. Whenever that E3 was, or that Xbox showcase was, I would say that's when like that relationship really started being more positive. Or actually, you go all the way back to
before that. I was gonna say before that.
Like a Dragon for sure. Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, I think Like a Dragon for sure is the starting point of that better relationship.
So yeah, obviously that is I think that's a purchase that may happen. I don't think
so. I
think eventually. I'm not saying now.
I don't think so, only because if you have to take it like with a grain of salt, because
of course
all these conversations that are happening are for Microsoft to get Activision at the end of the day, right? But they talked about why they went and purchased ZeniMax. It was because PlayStation was going after all those exclusives.
Yes.
And we've been seeing all those Sega games no longer be exclusives.
True.
So I think Xbox would be content with the relationship they have with Sega, as long as, let's say, a rumor popped up Persona 6 is going to be exclusive. I think if Persona 6 is exclusive, I think that deal is back on the table of Sega potentially being bought.
Yeah.
An interesting conversation, a little bit off. Do you think if Sega games are bought, the Sega games become exclusive?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think one thing I'll take away from all of this, again, there is so much to break down. We're not going to get through it all this week, and we're not going to be able to touch on everything. But the thing that I took from again, whether this deal goes through or not, is that Sony love to play the oh, we're not doing anything wrong card very often from what I've seen, and it's and so did Microsoft, by the way. Microsoft, like, the one thing I'll say about this entire court case is it's hilarious to me to see Xbox pretend they're not second place.
Yeah,
I understand the Switch. I understand in units the Switch is humongous, but for services and things like that, come on, like Xbox acting like they're so small time in gaming is hilarious to me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It was a really really interesting dynamic that they kept trying to push. And I think as far as like the case goes, I think the FTC did a horrible job of like arguing with that point. That I'd say they got away with it as far as like whatever happened.
Absolutely.
In court, which is I don't think it should have happened, but whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not nobody's lawyer.
I guess the next thing to touch on, because you did touch on it lightly there, was PlayStation wanted to make Starfield exclusive. They were actively go on.
We heard rumors about before.
Oh yeah. We did hear rumors, but it was interesting to see PlayStation. I love it. I love how it became the only reason Xbox now own Bethesda is because it was the bully trying to bully too far. In my opinion, it was like, in my opinion, that's how it comes across. It was like Ghostwire Tokyo, Death Stranded. No, not Death Stranded. Sorry, Deathloop. You go. Okay, I don't like it, but all right.
And then
Starfield,
like,
and it's like
that's too
you've gone
far.
too far. You've gone too far, and it's hilarious to see. It's hilarious to see Xbox go, you know what?
We're just gonna buy them.
No, we're buying them. Let's just get this done. Yeah. And it happened so fast, and you got to think. I remember when we reported on there and we did that live stream, and like it felt like an overnight, just like, what the hell is going on? And then now you see the curtain be pulled back a little bit, and you go, oh, this wasn't an overnight thing. This was a PlayStation trying to. I don't understand PlayStation's move. They have their best exclusive games on the market. Second place is obviously Nintendo with those, and then third place is Xbox. So it's interesting to see them go and do the moves they were making, and expect for there to be no repercussions for it.
I think the moves that Sony made were in part to consumers' response to what Sony was doing for exclusives beforehand. Not to say they didn't get third-party exclusives, but before that, it was a lot of third-party exclusive content deals. So it's like, here's this piece of DLC, and people have been vehemently like against that. They're like, oh, this is stupid and dumb, and we don't see it come out as often. I still think it pops up every here and there. Like the Callisto Protocol, I think has DLC is timed exclusive to PlayStation or whatever. It's not something you see as often. I think part of the reason is fighting back, and then so it's like, okay, we'll just get the game as an exclusive. Especially with their market position, it becomes easier for them because they'd have to offer less money because they have a bigger player base.
I think it's not exclusive though, is it? It's the timed exclusive is the problem. Is if you pay all the money and get it fully exclusive, all right, I don't like it, but okay. But it's the time. It's time gating away a game to a whole audience is where gamers really go, this is dumb, this is stupid, we don't agree with this. Because another thing that I guess we're going to fall into, so I'll bring it up here, which was like Stats and Nadella's quote about not liking exclusives, which I want to say with my whole heart, I totally disagree with. I think it's a ridiculous statement to make.
I also don't think it's a true statement at all.
No, I think from his perspective it is. I don't think he quite fully understands. Again, you got to think he's the CEO of Microsoft.
Yeah.
He's not a gamer. I love him, but he's not a gamer. He doesn't quite understand. He doesn't understand the Nintendo versus Sega.
To be fair, also, for him, it's also very beneficial if nothing is an exclusive because they have the infrastructure for cloud gaming, for all of this stuff. Like Microsoft is a tech company first and foremost before they're like a gaming company or anything. Absolutely. They're just a general tech company.
They're a service company.
Yeah,
like,
you're not wrong.
That's what they do best. So I think from his perspective, he thinks that's the right thing to say. But I'll say from my perspective, absolutely not. Like, the reason I own a PlayStation, a Nintendo, and an Xbox is because I get different experiences in all of those systems. I don't want there to be a market out there where I can only buy an Xbox and I can be playing Last of Us and everything else. Like, no, that doesn't make sense to me.
It's also exclusives drive competition.
Absolutely.
In terms of, like, this is the reason you should buy our box, right? I don't think
exclusives drive competition throughout our entire industry.
Everything,
like that's just the way things are. And I think where Satan Nadella's coming from is, like you said, they are a service company, right? So for them, it's like, well, we should just be able to partner with Sony and get their games on our services, like a film distributor. It's like, no. That's not how gaming works. That's not how I want gaming ever to work. It's
also gaming goes into that territory and they're overly in that territory, because right now I think with Game Pass it's a very good balance of like Game Pass isn't the main way people can consume games, but it is there for people. That's an accessible point.
Yeah.
But if it becomes the main way, you enter the problem of Spotify, where Spotify is so big that like an artist can be like, I don't like the cuts of Spotify, I don't like all this stuff that Spotify does, but if I don't release Spotify and I'm not like a Taylor Swift or whatever, and I think even Taylor Swift
Swift's back. She's back.
Yeah, it's like my music doesn't sell, and that's never a point you want gaming to get to, in my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree. But yeah, the exclusive quote was one that I didn't agree with.
I have one problem with that quote, and where he says that the only reason he essentially says the only reason exclusives exist is because of the way Sony does it, that they have to fight back. And it's like Xbox did it in the 360 era, so like I get what he's saying, but it's not a fully factual statement all the way through.
Yeah. No, I agree. What? There's so much, dude. Like, I'm looking through this and I'm just like, wow. Like, is there anything else that stuck out to you? Like, that you were like, wait, what's going on here?
Other than the acquisition talk.
What about the redacted stuff from Sony where they use the Sharpie?
Oh, I didn't see this. I missed this.
So they were redacting statements and handing over, but it was with Sharpie, so you could see through the Sharpie. So I believe we got a few pieces of information that Call of Duty nets PlayStation. I think it was $1 billion. It was
it was a lot of money, and then also that the deal's over. That would have been in the same document, correct?
Yeah, it was that, and then it was on top of we now know that Last of Us 2 cost $220 million to produce, to make, which I'll be honest with you, as much as like that doesn't surprise me, I'm kind of glad that gamers now see and know how much it costs to make games.
I think there's a lot of like, once you get through all the fanboyism that's going on and all this stuff online, there's a lot of like really good information in this for consumers to more so understand the background of AAA games. And I think an important thing is like, a lot of this is AAA game relevant that doesn't really correlate with indie games and stuff like that. Not to say that those games can't take a long time, but the scale of those games are so much smaller that the conversation I'd assume is probably different to varying degrees, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to read more statements here from other bits and bobs. It just gets more wild and more wild. So apparently Horizon Forbidden West cost $112 million to make over 5 years with 300 employees, and The Last of Us Part 2 cost $220 million to make with 200 employees, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's pre-marketing as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
So you throw on like another, at least a couple million, but realistically we're looking at probably like another 50 million for marketing in most cases, in a lot of cases. Crazy.
Nuts. I think all that this showed as well during this court case is how much Call of Duty, how much Sony do need Call of Duty. And that's something that I don't feel like Xbox was ever really going to take away from PlayStation until all of this nonsense.
You think they take it away now?
I think in maybe 10 years' time they do. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think eventually when Game Pass, because I saw a quote coming out that Game Pass would need to grow 2 million users per year to offset Call of Duty exclusivity. Which it's not, I don't think it grows that fast. But I do think eventually, if this goes through, that Xbox will get Call of Duty exclusively, 100%.
You think
it was 800 million, by the way. The document suggested that Call of Duty was worth about 800 million for PlayStation. And it said the document says 1.8 billion globally from the game alone.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
When you look at that, it makes sense why, as nonsensical as Sony's, like a lot of Sony's arguments and positions have been, it makes sense why they're so adamant on attempting to stop this.
Oh, 100%.
Whether they've approached it the right way or not.
I mean, any company is, if you got somebody coming through and go, yo, we're gonna take 800 million away from you. Yeah, you're gonna say absolutely not. Like, no,
or you're gonna have to play on our field. Like, if you want the 800 million, you're gonna have to do what we say, right?
Or you're at least going to fight. Fight for it. By the way, the Sega thing, there was a quote that came out from Sega saying that they have a very close relationship with Microsoft, but we currently would like to remain independent, so not now, was pretty much what they said about the Sega deal. I can see a couple of bad releases and Sega are like, hey yo, big man, what you saying? Come over here, let's let's do some business.
I don't know. As long as those games stay multi-platform, I don't think it happens personally. But never say never. I think there's always a possibility. Because Sega, I don't think is such an enormous size that they can't get bought. But I would be surprised if Sega's going up for sale and there isn't a big bidding war between Microsoft and Sony for Sega, and Microsoft will more than likely win that, I'd assume.
Yeah. No, I do agree. This whole FTC. So, okay, where do you think this goes? Where do you think? From what you know, from what you've read, from what you understand, which again, there's a lot. There's so much just gone on over the last few days.
Yeah.
Do you think Xbox are going to get Activision?
I'm leaning more towards yes than no. I'm not 100% sold on like it's a guarantee. I've seen some people talking about it's a guarantee that Microsoft gets Activision right now. I think judges can always rule in weird ways. Like, it's up to the discretion of the judge is the thing. It's not like a panel of people. It's not like the consumers that vote. It is a singular judge that, although she seems like she's on one side when she's sitting alone in her court, in her little office, and she's reading the documents and she comes to her own conclusion. Like, she doesn't necessarily even have to take anything the FTC said into account other than what's in front of her. Do I think that's going to be the case? No. I think she rules on Microsoft's side, to be honest.
From what I've seen, from the arguments that have been made, and again, I'm not a fanboy at all, I do think that Xbox have done a really good job of protecting Xbox as a brand during this. And, I disagree, but they feel like they've played the industry really well. They've had the conversations really well. The person I think who's come off the absolute worst during it is Jim Ryan. After what has come out from what he said, and some of the emails that we've gotten to see and things like that. Yeah.
I feel like Jim Ryan was just put in a shitty situation with some of those emails, because at first it seems like Jim Ryan didn't even really, not that he didn't care that Activision is being bought, but like that he was like, we'll be fine. And then definitely someone up above him was like, yeah, no, you're gonna fight that. That's not gonna happen. You can't be okay with it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult, unless like that's in your nature, to like just fake that sort of angle sometimes. Yeah. So like, I think he comes off because he doesn't even like really believe half the shit he says, if I'm gonna be honest.
No, I get it. One more piece of information we did find out as well, which was about Call of Duty's marketing. PlayStation has still got one more year with it, which is this year's game. It's still in that.
I thought this year's game isn't included.
I thought this year's game was. Do you have it in front of you? No, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I'm pretty sure this is the last year of their agreement with Sony when it comes to Call of Duty. So, yes. Very, very interesting. Email in for me, myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter or Discord, or our Discord, I should say. What do you guys think? Where do you think this is going to fall down when it comes to Xboxes versus the FTC? Obviously, I want it to happen. I know a lot of people don't want it to happen. I want it to happen. I just want, I want it to go through.
I don't care either way.
I respect it. I don't want PlayStation or Nintendo or anyone to lose games, really. Yeah. But I do understand from Xbox's point of view, and Xbox is the team that I play my games on, right? So I want Crash Bandicoots and Spyros and to come on to Game Pass day one. So
to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, I think one of the big problems with Microsoft possibly buying Activision is it puts Microsoft in that Disney position of gaming, right? In terms of having all these powerful IPs, and you can essentially do a lot of whatever you want across the board because you are in such a powerful position. I don't think they're there yet, but I think this is a very, very big piece for that. And then on top of that, fuck Bobby Kotick, and he shouldn't get a check off of the sale.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem.
He gets a lot. Have you seen how many shares he has and how much money he's
no, I know it's ridiculous.
Inclined to get? It's a ridiculous amount. It is so stupid.
But I hate to say it like this, but in the same breath, I want him out of our industry. So
you think he's out of the industry if this happens?
Once this goes through,
out of the industry.
Yeah. Who's taking him on?
I don't know. He's made a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe you're right. I hope you're right. I
feel like if this goes through, Bobby's out of our industry. He's.
I hope you're right. I feel like Bobby's the little groundhog that keeps popping up, though. I think he's just gonna come back, pop his head somewhere else.
Yeah, Bob hop somewhere else. Yeah, no, I can see it.
Bob. Did you say Bob hop somewhere else?
I said Bob hop somewhere else. Yeah,
I like that.
Oh, mate. All right, let's jump into what's been in our box, brother. What you been playing?
Haven't played anything new this week. Just more of the usual. More Street Fighter, which I'm still very liking. More Smite. I haven't played Destiny in a minute. This past season's been kind of dry. Other than that, I don't think I've really been playing too much different. I've been playing more Final Fantasy. Yeah. I'm relatively close-ish to the end.
I've got thoughts.
On Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Negative thoughts?
I think it's a fantastic game. Maybe it changes from where I'm at. I'm probably about 7-8 hours in, something like that, maybe a little bit more. I feel like it's too, like when you're going through areas to like fight things, like the enemies stay in the area too much. It doesn't feel like a breathing world as such. It feels like an MMO.
It's, you know what it is? It is an old school JRPG.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah,
it doesn't feel modern in that way. Like
I get what you're saying. Like, my opinion on the game is I think it's a great game. I think I think it deserves, from what I've played, to be in the Game of the Year conversation at the end of the year.
I agree.
I think the combat's really good and the story's really good.
Yeah. The
players' interactivity with the world is where I think this game lacks the most. And I think that's also a true statement for Final Fantasy VII Remake and a lot of Square Enix's games. Your interaction with the world in Final Fantasy VII Remake is about on par with this game. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, but I'm more.
You can say no.
You're 100% right. You're 100. Look, don't get it twisted. You're 100% right. 100% right.
I got it.
But that game just it holds a special place in my heart for some reason. I've been playing it. I'm just like, it just feels like enemies are put in places for me to level up.
Yeah,
like
it's the combat. They want you to interact with the combat.
Yeah,
that's really all it is.
But it just doesn't feel very fluid in that way. Like you say, interacting with the world, the enemies don't come across to me. I have to go to them. It feels like all of the time. And I don't know if that gets any better towards as you go on. Again, the boss fights are ridiculously amazing. The cutscenes are amazing. The story's really interesting. Like, there's so much good here, but that element is just a bit like,
What helped me is I stopped exploring these worlds. I went from point A to point B, and that helped me significantly because at first, like after that initial opening, I was actually kind of like, I don't know what people are talking about this game. It's not really that great. And then I was like, I'm just going to ignore the stuff that the game's not telling me to do.
Yeah.
And my experience with the game expanded like so much because when you go to like an Elden Ring or even a God of War or something like that, like they incentivize you to explore that world more so than Final Fantasy 15 does. And I will say it's like the first time, because this is the Final Fantasy 14 studio, so it's their first time making a game like this. As far as I'm
online?
Yeah, 14's the MMO.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why we said
that makes
MMO.
sense.
Like,
it does feel.
It's like there's a lot of stuff in the way that not the main cutscenes, but some of the smaller dialogues you have with characters. It's like, oh, this is 100% just straight up Final Fantasy 14 with different dialogue boxes. Yeah,
I skipped. So I started skipping all the side quest stuff. Side quests are absolutely atrocious in this game as well, by the way.
There's, bro, side quests are so hit or miss because some of the side quests later on and some of the ones earlier on are like really, really good. But then you have ones where it's like deliver food
Go
to
deliver
people.
the fucking plates of food.
I
Like,
don't want
what?
to deliver food to nobody. What are you trying to get me to do? Like those side quests are atrocious.
It doesn't even make sense for the character.
The delivering food one doesn't. I think some of the other ones you can make an
Maybe
argument
I
for
haven't.
too,
Yeah.
because Clive comes into the hideout and he's the lowest like ranking person, and so
Yeah.
you're getting to know people, and I think you can make that. But the problem is I don't think the game does a good job of conveying that that's what they're doing. A
Yeah.
lot. I think there's a lot of like miscommunication, and who knows if it's like translation errors, right?
Could be.
Oh,
Haley made that. Haley made. She went, "Why do they all sound like this?" I was like, "I think that's just what they've gone for." She's like, "No, it don't seem right. It don't seem right." I'm like, okay, all right, right. But yeah, no, I'm having a good time with the game. I do think if you're listening to this and you're like, "Well, I don't have a PlayStation." Wait, is it coming to PC?
Yeah. So
I
PC,
believe it is coming to PC at some point,
yeah.
right? I'd wait for it to come to PC if you have a PC. It's definitely worth playing, like when you get the chance to play it.
Yeah. Have you noticed frame rate issues at all? Because people have complained about it. Are you playing graphics mode or frame rate mode?
I think I'm playing.
Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah, because
yeah,
I've noticed like it dips sometimes, but it's never so dipping that I'm like it's a horrible experience.
You
and
know
in
me,
combat,
bro.
it's generally solid, which I think is the most important part. To be honest.
I'm not a frame rate guy either.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm honestly, it's just not my go-to thing. Yeah, I'm a little bit let down by it just because of reviews. I felt like that, and the RP. It's not even an RPG. Bro, I feel like the item system is just pointless.
The item system's ass, but like I don't think you can say it's not an RPG when you're getting skill points and you're leveling up. You can say the RPG systems aren't good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. Sure.
I don't disagree with that.
Sure.
Saying it's not an RPG.
No, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, I don't think it needs to be an RPG.
I could agree with that. I would like in playing the game. I wish like all like the weapons you equip, because you have the accessories that change like the effects of stuff or like change cooldowns and stuff like that. I wish there was more of that in all the gear. So you had 6 slots where it's like you're really crafting a build of what you want to do. I will say the game, like I had this moment when I was playing the game where I was very much like you, where I was like, I don't know why it got reviewed the way it does. The deeper you get into the game, it's like this is why it was reviewed the way it was. So I do think there is.
I'm definitely gonna beat it. I'm definitely gonna beat it. Definitely worth playing. Yeah. What else have I been playing? I think that's it. Honestly, I don't think I've played much this week. I've been super duper busy. More Football Manager. No one cares about that. More Call of Duty. No one cares about it.
You play any Street Fighter yet?
No.
When Fix finally plays Street Fighter, we're gonna give you guys a 1st to 10 of me against Fix.
Street Fighter. It's just, do you know what it is? It's just I haven't bought it. Is all. It's like.
Oh, I got you.
Have you got it on PC?
I got it on PC. Yeah, I got you.
I need to buy it though, so I want to play against you. So,
yeah, but you could play it first. I got you, and you can play it and see if it's something that's actually worth you buying.
Yeah, I could, bro. Do you know what it is? I forgot to reach out for a code to Capcom for it, and then the time has gone by too long where I'm like, I can't really ask for a code now. Like, so I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and buy it. So, yeah, no, I'm just, yeah. I want to play it again. I've beaten a lot of games this year, to be fair. Or I've played enough games. I've beaten a lot of games this year, and compared to last year, especially if anyone listened last year, you know how much I struggled. I've beaten a lot of games this year, and I've also played games that I wouldn't usually play, just so I can say it's not for me. So it sounded like Wulong. Like I played that, the opening of that, and just like no.
I still have not played that game.
If you can get past the first boss, I'm sure it's a great game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's where you stopped, right? The first boss.
I played it for like 4 hours, 5 hours.
That's fair.
And just couldn't. Like at that point, it's like it's not for me, right? It's not for me. There's so much coming out that I'm excited about though. Like Lies of P, looking forward to. Payday 3, looking forward to. Starfield, looking forward to. Malaya. And Formula 1, baby. Yeah, I've been playing Formula One a little bit. So for those who don't know, on the audio, I just pulled up my steering wheel. I haven't started the career mode properly yet. I've just been doing like the little scenarios in the my driver world bit just to learn my steering wheel stuff again. It's a really good game. Obviously, I think most people know Formula One games are usually to a great standard. So
have you played it on controller?
No, I haven't. I've heard it's got improved controller stuff this year, but I haven't checked it out myself. I can check it out for next week though for you. I can check it out next week. I would love to get a group of people to play it who are, because I only know Formula One because of Drive to Survive. Like that's when I've got into it. And you don't like documentaries. So
don't like documentaries. Don't like, especially like if I've watched like some short YouTube documentaries that are like 15 minutes. I'm like, this is great. If it's more than that and goes to like the half-hour mark, it's like maybe. But then an hour-long documentary, I'm like, no, I can't. I have to be really invested in the topic. Like I've watched a couple of like hip hop documentaries and some gaming documentaries. It has to be
subjects you care about, like deeply.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not really even a documentary. It's more like a reality TV show. It's the funny thing about it. It's like, I just didn't know how much drama there was in Formula One. And like learning the sport because of it. And I watched that one and then I watched the golf one as well on Netflix. Crash. Crash. So my Netflix got smashed because of the password stuff.
You can't use it anymore.
So I had to pay for Netflix, and I was like, I'm part of the problem. I've just rewarded their bad behavior. But I had no choice.
Their subscriptions went up. Went up.
I know.
Yeah.
Because of me.
Yeah, it's not just you, it's a bunch of people. So anybody was like, oh, people aren't going to buy it. Like so many people were like, I don't think Netflix realizes that they're not going to support this. And then they do it. And the first thing that happens is their subscribers are like number high for a minute.
You know what it is I didn't realize I should have realized, because I don't watch normal TV. But like me and Haley were just like for weeks. Like we waited about 2-3 weeks. And then I was just like, H, we've used all of our Apple TV. There's nothing on here I want to watch. Nothing on Amazon I want to watch. Nothing on Disney Plus that I want to watch. It's like, we need Netflix. And then it was like, all right. I was like, let me just bite the bullet. So, yeah, I did that. I'm sorry.
Shame on you, Fix.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
You think they ever end up walking you back a degree?
No.
You think they do a family plan where it's like $30 or something like that? Just individual?
No, they've seen us. We've rewarded the bad behavior for long enough.
Yeah. So,
is what it is, man. Is what it is. All right, let's get into this week's dashboard, shall we? PlayStation exclusive, now coming to Xbox. Stray. Stray will be coming to Xbox. This was announced at the Annapurna Interactive. It was a timed exclusive for PlayStation, which I didn't know was timed, but good to see it coming. It's coming August 10th. So for those who are interested in playing Stray, you'll be able to on August 10th on Xbox. GG's. Oh, we already spoke about this. I kind of touched this, didn't I? Sega news, we already went through that. Annapurna reveal Blade Runner 2033 Labyrinth. It's a debut first-party game. Annapurna Interactive have announced Blade Runner 2033 Labyrinth, a new game in the legendary sci-fi franchise. It's the first game in the series in 25 years, and it's also Annapurna's debut first-party title developed by its internal studio. You a Blade Runner fan? I never heard you talk about Blade Runner when the film came out.
No, I don't. I've never watched a Blade Runner. I think there's 2 of the movies or whatever. I know people are like really into them. That's why I was like, this story, I feel like Matt would be in tune with this. I feel like Matt's a Blade Runner guy, but I don't know.
Matt, can we have a conversation about Matt?
Blade Runner guy. Okay, go ahead.
You know, like sometimes we do the podcast and I say to you, I feel like a phony. I feel like a phony fan.
Yeah.
I feel like Matt's a phony fan for everything.
No, I think Matt's
he was the Star Wars guy, and then the Star Wars game come out and he hasn't even beat it.
I don't think that says anything.
Imagine a Resident Evil game coming out and I not beat it. Don't do it, Crash. Don't do it, Crash. Don't do it, Crash. I know what you're gonna try and do, but don't do it.
What was I gonna try and do?
I know what you're gonna try and do.
What was I gonna try and do?
You're gonna try and name the 2 that I haven't played.
I don't know what to haven't played it, so I'm out of luck. But if I recall, you didn't beat Village right away, no?
Yes, I did.
You didn't beat it right away.
I didn't even stop. Nope, that's not true.
Oh, really?
I didn't even stop. That's not true. You're a liar.
Resident Evil 5, have you played as Shiva?
Yeah, I've beaten that game multiple times. I almost 1000G'd that game. You got to remember, with Resident Evil, brother, I've beaten Resident Evil 5.
No.
Resident Evil 5, I've beaten it on 360. I've beaten it on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, but I've played that game so much, it's ridiculous.
I understand. I'm just trying to find, like, you know, something I could, like, poke a little bit with.
I'll let you. Do you want me to tell you a secret?
I got nothing. Yeah, tell me a secret.
Revelations 1.
Oh, you never played Revelations 1.
Played Revelations 2, but never. I know.
Resident Evil fan, I swear, hasn't played You haven't played the Revelations?
I know,
Revelations 1?
I know.
You ain't fake, bro.
Fake.
Mad fake.
Super fake. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Next piece.
Big fan of stuff, Matt. I just want you to know that when you're listening back on this, and you make plans to do whatever you're gonna do, it was fixed, not me.
Anyways, good news for Baldur's Gate fans. That's me and you, Crash. It's releasing early on PC. The studio announced that its highly anticipated Baldur's Gate 3 is a sequel to the previous. Blah blah. We know this. It's set to come out has moved up from August 31st to August 3rd, and on PlayStation has been moved slightly back to August 6th from August 31st. I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3 until I saw a little article come out about its cutscenes. Did you see this?
171 hours of cutscenes.
Yeah.
I don't think... Because the game's all about choice and stuff
100%.
I think it depends, like, how many choices there are and how many cutscenes they need for those choices, because it's 171 hours of cutscenes in total. So I'm like, that could be fine, and I think I'm for that experience, but I could definitely see people walking away and be like, that's a little bit too much for me. I don't want that much story.
I really want us to do a series on us live streaming it, because the problem I found with the game, I love it. I love the game. I think it's fantastic, but when you have the big battles, they take a really long time to go through because there's so many characters, obviously. And I feel like that's when you need friends with you to just chat about mundane, boring stuff, you know? So I feel like if we could, like, sit down and, like, have this be our first D&D game experience thing, I feel like then we could go, all right, let's do a D&D campaign. So I feel like we could probably, I'll speak to Despawn. I feel we could get Despawn in on it once a week as well. Me, you, Despawn. And then when he wants to join in, he can with his character. But we just carry on. Like, so if someone can't make it, that's their problem. They've got to jump in when where we're at.
Does the game work like that?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
And if it don't, I think it'd be even funnier to watch that character just get killed over and over again.
Don't you need revive potion? I don't know how it works in comparison to Divinity Original Sin, but you can, like, kill characters completely in Divinity Original Sin if you can't revive them, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so in this. I'm pretty sure you play as your main character, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I played the early access a really long time ago. But I think it would be a lot of fun. Even if it's just me and you, and then Matt jumping in whenever he wants. I feel like we should. I feel like we should commit to it and do it.
So the original release date, really good for me. New release date, not gonna be.
Oh, Starfield. Yeah, but and Starfield's coming out as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we need to do it as soon as it comes out.
Got it. Okay.
But I feel like we should set up
this one for the fun of it.
Yeah. So it's just like because we don't have a game right now. But I feel like if we could be like, yo, one day a week, and we could just throw it in the My Xbox and Me Discord when we can go live. So we can just be like, we're going live, we're playing through, we're doing our campaign, and we just play it through whenever we want.
Okay. I'm with that.
You know?
All right,
say less. I think it'd be funny as well. I think if we could really get in character for it, I think it'd be hilarious. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what we can do.
I'm not a professional RPer out here, Fix. I can't make no promises.
No.
You know, you've been RPing for a minute now, bro. You out here, you're making a living off of RPing, bro. You professional.
Yeah, playing myself is such a hard task. A few pieces of news that we can quickly just jump into. New games with Game Pass games. I was about to say games with gold. Have been announced. Coming. You've got. If I can find it, where is it? Oh no. Where's the list?
I got the list for you. These are all out.
Yeah.
It's Bramble, the Mountain King.
Yep.
Which is out console, PC, cloud. Diesel Punk, which is I don't know what that is. And then there's Fist Forged in Shadow Tech, which is the mouse game with the dude with the huge fist that came out was a PlayStation exclusive originally. I don't know if you recall that. A farming sim, Stories of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, which I believe is like the original team that used to make Harvest Moon that makes this game now because of whatever background studio reasons. Arcade Paradise, which is console and PC. July 3rd, there's Sword and Fairy Together Forever. And that is about it. And there's games leaving.
I was gonna say the only game that you've missed out on if you haven't played it was Road 96.
Yeah. I think it's worth the purchase.
100%. 100%. Don't play the sequel. It's trash. Oh, the prequel. You haven't played it yet, have you?
Prequel? No.
You've got it because you've got Game Share with me. Try it.
Yeah.
That's going to be your most letdown experience of the year.
You think so? At the end of the year, I'm going to be like, this is the worst experience I've had this year.
Tell you what, Original Cookie Man, I want you to come up with... We're going to do our Game of the Year thing that we always do at the end of the year. I want you to come up with some fun end of the year thing that you did last time. Like, best experience, worst experience, best fun, that sort of thing. I want that. So make it happen. Thank you.
Okay. Just make it happen.
Make it happen.
Man, you don't have a choice in this.
You got a job? Who cares? Make it happen. Let's jump into Fix the Stack real quick. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. Also, hit us up on Discord and all that stuff. Toplift says, what do you think the end goal of the Activision acquisition truly is? I truly believe Microsoft is going to be able to buy Activision. I think from what I saw that week.
I don't think that's what the question is entailing.
Would you? Okay, let's break it down.
What's the end goal of like Microsoft buying Activision? What's like Microsoft's end goal? Because they've said it's not about exclusives, it's about mobiles, all this stuff. That's where I'm assuming this question is coming from. Because it doesn't sound like it's like what's the end goal of the core? Like what's going to happen? I don't think there is an end goal right now. I think it's just a great purchase for Microsoft. And right now they're not necessarily looking at it as exclusives, but I don't think there is an end goal because I think they're like, hey, we'll do whatever we need to with these properties and stuff we're getting.
The end goal is to provide more content to Game Pass so they never lose subscribers and the subscribers keep going up. That's what the end goal is, to buy Activision.
That's fair.
That's what I think. That's what I think. I think they know they need more studios to provide more content for Game Pass to keep it being a viable product, especially with the price increase and things like that. And the only way to do that is to bring in top of the range studios and IP that, again, Spyro for kids is going to bring in so many more people. Crash Bandicoot. There's a bunch of other stuff that can be done.
There's also very interesting is like some of those IPs like Spyro and Crash also have room to grow as entertainment properties with TV shows and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of avenues for marketing Game Pass without it being the normal Game Pass sizzle reel of like, hey, put it at the store forefront, Crash Bandicoot new game, whatever the case is, while there's a new animated TV show or whatever.
Netflix show.
I think there's a lot of room with that, right?
100%.
So I think all around, like, there's a lot of stuff Xbox can do with the Activision purchase.
Fair enough. Next up was from Reality. Hi lads, hope you're well. Now that Xbox have sort of officially given some numbers on how many units Xbox Series X and S have sold combined at 20 million, would you say it has met expectations or exceeded or lower than expected? 20 million in 3 years. Probably exceeded my expectations, if I'm honest.
I don't know because I don't necessarily view Microsoft from the perspective of selling consoles when you're talking about everything, right? I'm like, how many PC Game Pass subscribers are there? How many, like for me, I think the more relevant number with Microsoft as far as I'm concerned is how many Game Pass subscribers do they have and how many people actively buy games on the PC Xbox app.
Yeah.
How many people are interacting with their ecosystem. And I think the install base of the Series S and the Series X are very important to that, but I don't think it's the full picture. So I don't think that's enough information to like really gauge expectations.
It's almost past the GameCube, the original Xbox, the Atari, and the Sega Mega Drive. Well, no, not quite. Not the Atari or Mega Drive. They're at 30 million. I think they said the next console is not coming also till 2028.
Yeah.
Is their next generation, they see it as. I think if you compare it to PlayStation 5, they're ways off, right? Like PlayStation 5 sitting at 38 million, where Xbox Series is sitting at 21. I think that's about right for where Xbox are in the market right now. And like Chris said, they're not in the market of selling consoles anymore. They're selling services, and you got to remember, Microsoft were the first out of everybody to adopt PC. People like myself, like, you know, like I know we own consoles, and you, Chris, as well. You got me into the PC market, but like, I look at my PC. I do my Xbox and me, but I play on PC mainly. Like, I look at the PC as an extension of Xbox. You can't say the same when it comes to Sony.
Yeah, no. And I don't think Sony, like, the difference is I don't think Sony really wants it to be like that.
No, I agree.
Right? That's 100% a Microsoft decision they made. And for better or for worse, I think overall it definitely is for the better. But I think you can make an argument here or there that once you look at the whole picture, kind of just washes away, but that's whatever. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where Xbox will be in like the next decade in terms of like cloud, how focused they are on that, or whether they reorganize focus to go a little bit more on their hardware, or where they'll go with that. I don't think they ever like put as much focus in their hardware as they used to. I think you'll still get a lot of focus on the Series S or like the smaller skewed model, because that's been very good to get Xbox into the doors and homes of people that might have not had it otherwise. Even though it's not a necessity to get into Xbox nowadays.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Just units. Units is always an interesting one. I think Xbox are happy with 20 million units. I'm sure they would love to have sold as many as Sony, but it's just not realistic. Yeah. What I will say is, after E3, and I guess we didn't really explore this too much, nothing they showed at E3 this year, or not E3, to me was a unit seller.
Yeah, I think Fable could be a unit seller. I don't think we saw enough of Fable for it to be a unit seller. I think Starfield.
You think that sells units?
I think Starfield.
I'm not saying it doesn't look amazing.
No, you're correct. You're correct. Does it sell units? No, because it's on PC. I think like the hard thing about like discussing a unit seller with Xbox is that you always have the readily available avenue of like, hey, I have a PC, I can just play it on PC, right?
Yeah.
So I do think like, I think you're right. Like maybe there is none. Maybe even Starfield isn't one.
Maybe I'm wrong though. Is there anybody out there listening to this podcast who goes, you know what, Starfield is gonna be the game that makes me buy an Xbox Series X?
Yeah. Would it make you buy an Xbox over like increasing your plan to invest in a PC if you don't have a PC?
Yeah.
But PCs are expensive as well. I've seen the argument of like, you don't need to get an Xbox, you just get a PC. It's like, you can buy a $500 PC. It's not going to be able to run much of anything. Like you can run games, you can play, you can run Call of Duty probably on like the lowest
Football Manager.
Everybody looks like it's a PS1 games, you know? But I do think that investing into a PC that can play modern games at a quality that matches console is very expensive. Very expensive.
Extremely. No, I agree. I do agree. last couple from Top Left here. Top Left 91 says, if you guys were to open your own game studio, what genre would you specialize in? Survival horror.
RPG.
An RPG survival horror.
No. I'm never getting into business with you on a
Why not?
game fix. What?
That would be cool. An RPG survival horror? Can it be done? I don't think it can be done.
Yeah, I think you can make an RPG survival. I think it would take a very creative mind, but I think it could be done. I think it would be on the border of somebody being like, that's not really an RPG, or somebody being like, that's not really a
Survival horror. Yeah.
Because if you look, there is a game that technically, like, you could argue fits that, which is what's it called? Tango's game.
Oh, Evil Within?
No, not Evil Within. The
Ghostwire?
Ghostwire. You can make the argument that Ghostwire is an RPG. You're leveling up, you're getting gear, and
okay.
There is horror elements in it. Would I call it a survival horror? No, I wouldn't call it a survival horror. But you could make the argument for it.
Oh man, I really want to do Evil Within, man.
I think it's bound to happen now.
Yeah, but with Shinji leaving, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not gonna be with Shinji, but it'll happen at Xbox.
I hope so, man. I really do hope so. Yeah, well, I would want to make a survival horror game, obviously. That's my favorite franchise of all time. And I think I could... That's the only game franchise I feel like I could actually give my 2 cents and, like, people will be like, yeah.
Better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like you're making an RPG and you're like, yeah, no, I think there's too much dialogue.
Exactly, yeah.
There's not enough action in this.
The only thing with RPGs, like you say, like the one thing I hate about RPGs is when I'm not rewarded for my exploring.
Yeah.
I hate it whenever there's a corner I go around and it's like, there should be a chest here. I don't care if you just give me a health potion.
I'm fine if there's like an enemy that is challenging and I go to a corner and I'm rewarded and it's just XP or something like that. But there should be something around that corner and that corner existing for no reason. And this isn't really just like an RPG comment. This is like a very general comment. I think one thing open worlds get away with, not to like go off on too much of a tangent, but open world games have like this big field and the field's mostly empty. And so you go and you explore and eventually you'll find something. But if you're realistically looking at it, there's so much nothing in most open world games. It's very disappointing when you're actually like thinking about it.
I mean, that's why Elden Ring's so special, though, right? That's like
something everywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then the last one from Top Left here, with the death of E3 all but confirmed, what are your most memorable E3 moments / reveals? Ooh.
Final Fantasy VII remake,
big one. Resident Evil 2 remake being announced was huge for me. That moment of, because obviously it had been rumored for like so long, and obviously they had the whole "we do it" stuff. So when that finally got announced and it looking, and that was huge.
Was Kingdom Hearts 3?
Kingdom Hearts 3 was a big one. I remember that. Yeah, Toy Story, when that Toy Story got shown, that was big. I mean, my favorite moments my favorite moment, again, not an E3 moment technically, actually, and it was a moment that we didn't actually stream, was me, Crash, and Dan Oni sitting in Discord watching the Game Awards one year.
Yeah.
And it was just the 3 of us just hanging out, talking over it, discussing it, and that was kind of where the birth of reacting to stuff come from me, where I was like, oh yeah, I should probably just stream this. Because like, if we're having this much fun, then other people will have fun doing it. Hence why I started doing reaction content. But yeah, big announcements.
Can I be honest? It's really, for me at least, I can't speak for other people. I have trouble when people are like, here's a topic, go back in your memory and pick one.
Oh, I agree. Thing. No, I agree.
I always struggle with it.
Sunset Overdrive being announced was huge for me. I remember that when that got announced, and then I got to go to EGX and play it for the first time, and being like, "Oh my god, this game's amazing." The Xbox, I'll be honest with you, it's not a pretty one, but the Xbox One being shown, that was huge. That was such a huge moment. Such a memorable moment. I remember I was working at McDonald's at the time. I got home, and I remember watching it with Haley, because me and Haley used to sit down and watch them, and then just the TV, Madden, TV, and just being like, I liked it.
Did you liked it? Interesting. Okay.
Did
you watch Sony's conference after that, or was it
Yeah.
just Xbox's
No, I
conference?
watched
How
Sony
did
as
you
well.
feel at the time? How did you feel about the you can play our games anywhere?
Yeah, well,
whatever it was.
yeah, my thing
How to
was,
share games.
so I understood what they were doing and everything,
Yeah.
but I was obviously salty because I was an Xbox gamer at the time, obviously, and not mature either. Let's be honest. I remember like the whole articles coming out with what you can do on Xbox, what you can do on Sony, and like my friends all sharing those and being like, we can't share games anymore, and I'm like, not technically, like we can do this and that, and like Xbox were ahead of the curve in certain ways. In some ways, they were absolutely stupid as well. The sharing game stuff, obviously, especially discs. That was the big part where you're like, you're an idiot.
You couldn't share discs, but they had family sharing.
Yeah.
I think family sharing was a plan way back then, which would have. I feel like that actually would have been huge. Because it would have been like traditional family sharing and not the way you have to do it right now. It's like my Xbox is your account's main console, but I have to be connected online if I ever like. It's just a whole mess.
The best moment of all that was watching. Do you remember Angry? Is his name Angry Joe? I believe the YouTuber.
Joe,
watching him interview Major Nelson, and Major Nelson just been like, him and Major Nelson going at it, like, well, you could just take it out, and him like, are you an engineer? Do you know how this works? And just being like, oh, that was just such a bad look. But it was interesting time. So those are some. But yeah, Resident Evil. Anytime Resident Evil was announced at one of these showcases, I get very hyped. Apart from 4, I just didn't care about 4.
But I feel like 4 lost some of the magic of the announcement because people knew 4 was coming as well.
We knew 2 was coming. Now wait for Code Veronica to come.
No?
Wait for Code Veronica to come.
Then you're gonna go crazy.
Oh mate, that's the last one, bro. That's the last one.
Code Veronica's not gonna come.
Yeah, it is.
They're gonna remake 5.
Let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Plug and get ourselves out of here. What you got to plug? What you got to plug this week, bro?
What I not Twitter. Twitter is broken and dead.
So yo, what's your thoughts on Twitter? Yeah.
Elon Musk has ruined everything he touches. I saw a hysterical post. I don't remember who posted it, and it's bothering me. But it was Elon Musk plans on buying Twitch and limiting the amount of viewers you can get or the amount of streams you can view to or however many minutes. And I thought it was like hysterical. The timing was perfect for that. Twitter's a shit show right now. Twitter's an absolute shit show right now.
Such a shame. Well, it isn't a shit show for me because I pay for Twitter Blue.
Yeah, I've seen people having issues even with Twitter Blue.
Oh, interesting.
You have a 6,000 limit. So like if you're on Twitter a lot, I guess it depends on how much you use Twitter. You can run through the limit. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk on the back end is like, let's just cancel that for Twitter Blue users and they can view as many as they want. But it's been today I went on Twitter and it was fine for the most part. But do you know why it happened?
No, I ain't got a clue.
Because apparently, I don't know if this is fact. But
allegedly,
Elon Musk wanted to switch from Google and didn't want to pay the bill, and the bill was due the 30th, and they took too long to transfer a lot of the data and servers away from the Google servers. So shout out to Elon Musk.
I'm interested, man. I'm so interested. It's so heartbreaking for me because obviously Twitter's such a big platform for me, like especially some of the people that I follow, of people that follow me, are like some of my biggest heroes. So to see like this app like die is like, oh god.
It could it might still be fine, but I've seen mad people again going through the thing of posting like, oh, here's all these.
Here's my hive. Here's my hive. Here's my this. Here's my that.
Blue Sky or whatever is the big one I see everywhere. Which that one's invite only right now. You can't even go and make an account. But yeah, it's interesting situation with Twitter right now.
Interesting. You can follow us over at My Xbox and Me. Come check us out over on YouTube, youtube.com/MyXboxandMe. Let us know in the Discord discussions. Do you want to see me and Crash play through a Baldur's Gate playthrough? Let us know, because I'd be interested. I think we're going to do it offline otherwise. I'm keeping it 100. Like, I want to do it no matter what. So let us know if you want to see us stream that. Could be fun. Have I got anything to plug? No.
Do you have any reviews on podcasts?
Oh, I don't actually know. Let me check my phone. Have you got one?
I have none.
Okay. You haven't got any. I'll check right now. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm going to be in Paris. So if you're coming to TwitchCon, make sure you let me know so we can sort out a meeting up and hanging out and stuff. No new reviews for me. But yeah, I'll be at TwitchCon. So I'll be in France, which obviously there's protests right now going on in France. Big protests. which is interesting.
Have they said anything about the possibility of like
Canceling?
Twitch? Yeah.
They said I got an email the other day from Twitch saying they're monitoring the situation and they'll let us know in the nearer to the time. Doesn't really help us if we're being totally honest with you. Either way, I'll be going to France though, because I'm pretty sure my hotel is non-refundable, and so is my so is my train. So whether TwitchCon happens or not, I'll be going to France. But yeah, well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. You know, hopefully everything runs smoothly. Apparently, it's not near the venue right now, so yeah, man. It would be the only time I go to Paris though, because I just have no interest in being in Paris. So
yeah,
it's like, great. The one time I'm going, you decide to want to do this. Okay, great. But yeah, so yeah, go follow me on socials, go follow Crush on socials, and we will see you all again next week, hopefully with a Matt P. Until next time, love you, leave it, see you later. Good boy.